Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, wa kafa, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Fa amma man utiya kitabahu bi yaminihi fa yaqulu ha'um iqra'u kitabiyah. Sadaqallahu mawlana al-azim. وكان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا كان يوم عيد خالف الطريق رواه البخاري أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Alhamdulillah, today we're looking at two chapters. We're looking at chapter 98 and 99 of Riyadh al-Salihin. So the first chapter is about that it's recommended. In my title, if you read on the WhatsApp, the message that I sent, I called it your religious footprint, increase your footprint. And I was drawing the analogy that, nowadays people are talking about global warming, right? Global warming and all the forest fires and all that. And they say you have to decrease your carbon footprint. So then I just copied that language and I said we need to increase our religious footprint based on this title, this chapter here, because Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi alayh, he says that it's mustahab, it's recommended that when you go for Eid prayer, that you take one route and you take another route back. Did you know that? Eid and Hajj, it comes in Hadith. All right. So if you go for Hajj on Route 95, then when you're coming back from Hajj, don't come from Route 95, come from different, because you went for a religious activity. So you go two different routes. Okay. And I'll give you the wisdom in a few minutes. But Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi alayh, he does qiyas. You guys know what qiyas is? Analogical reasoning. The Hadith just mentions Hajj and Eid. It doesn't mention anything else. But Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi alayh says, when you visit the sick, or if you go for a battle, he mentions all the good activity, like you come for Quran class. If you happen to, you don't have to all the time. It's not fard, it's just mustahab. Mustahab. Sometimes if you have the ability, if you get lost, then you go for a different route. Okay, so everybody understand the title? What's the title? That's recommended when you do religious activity that you go from one route and you come back from another route, so that you increase your religious footprint. Okay. Let's read the hadith and then I'll give you some explanation. Jabir radiallahu ta'ala relates that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِذَا كَانَ يَوْمُ عِيد, when it was the day of Eid, خَالَفَ الطَّرِيق. He went from this road and he came back from the other road. The wisdom behind this, there's a couple witnesses that the road will become a witness on Yawm al-Qiyamah, because you remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every step of the way. Also, as students of ilm, when you guys come, right, you know that you're the road, especially for Eid, you're saying Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, right? You're chanting the takbirat, so it'll bear testimony. Number two, the wisdom behind it is that maybe you can help the poor, because since you're going for such a religious effort of Hajj or something, so maybe on this, if you take this route and on this route, maybe there's some poor people on this route, so you'll be able to help them. Make sense? Come close a little bit. Nazdik means come close. Okay. That's Urdu. Okay. The other is the third wisdom is that it shows the power of Islam. So, for example, if you're doing a religious work, so like today we're all dressed with our religious attire. So then when you go, then people see that so many Muslims. Like on Eid, right? Everyone's dressed. So when you flood the streets and you go into the marketplace after that, then the people see, the people say, wow, there's so many Muslims. So it shows like the strength of Islam. And they see how beautiful it is, how we are. And the next hadith on Ibn Umar. It's hadith by Ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam kana yakhruju min tariq al-shajara. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he came to Makkah and when he went to Medina, he had different routes. So when he would go to Medina, he would go from Tariq al-Shajara. This was a place called Shajara. And then he would enter from Tariq al-Mu'arras. This was maybe a place where people stayed the night. So coming into the city like that. And then when he went to Makkah, he dakhala min al-Thaniyah. He went from Thaniyat al-Uliya, from high valley. Like Makkah has like two entrances, like a high valley and a low valley. So coming, he would take the high valley, and coming back, he would take the other one. Again, increasing your religious footprint. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to do so. Also, you can practice this here. When you come to the masjid, you can pray in different spots. I personally, after the sunnah prayer, I like praying right where you're prayed. You notice that I always tell the kids, pray in your own spot. There's another hadith for that. To pray in your own spot? There is a hadith for the evidence for that. Because there's a hadith that says that there's an angel that makes dua for you. That's why I always tell students, stay in your same spot. And plus, it looks nice. See, when people scatter, then it's sometimes hard to walk because somebody's praying back there. So I like to practice on both hadith. Usually when I come into a masjid, I pray different places. That way I've acted on the other hadith, that you increase your religious footprint. But then after prayer, I usually like to bring my own. On the other hadith, that there's an angel who keeps making dua for you after the fard prayer until you're done praying there. So you like to stay in that same spot. Okay, going on to the next chapter. The next chapter is about
What?
looking for something here. All right. The next chapter is about it's recommended that you do everything with the right side. Right? Anything that's noble, you do it with the right hand. So I'm gonna go through some noble activities, and all non-noble activities you do it with the left hand. Now you might think in today's day and age, right, modern science, technological age, you might think, oh, it's such a small thing. If you're giving somebody something, what's the big deal, right? It is a big deal, because every sunnah, never look down upon a sunnah. Every sunnah is it's a big deal. So and actually, let me tell you why it's a big deal. Let me prove it to you. If you're, for example, if I'm about to give someone something with the left hand, and I just remember, oh, it's sunnah that I should give it with the right hand. Muhammad, look here when I'm talking, right? So you're about to give it the left hand, so at that moment, what just happened? When you switched it, what just happened? You remembered Allah. And وَلَذِكْرُ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى أَعْلَى. You just did the greatest thing on the planet Earth, which is to remember your Creator. Make sense? Now you understand why every sunnah is the biggest thing in the world? Yeah. Like you imagine, you know, the sunnah is you put your right foot first, left foot first in the shoes. Right. So you're about to put the left, and you're like, you just switched it to the right. You remembered Allah, and you just did the highest thing on this earth. That's why I never look down upon a sunnah. Okay, keep practicing. So Imam Nawawi rahmatullah alayhi, he writes a big title to give us. He goes, so in wudu, what do you wash first? The right side. In bathing, you wash the right side. You know, if you do the sunnah bathing, well, nowadays you're under the shower. In 1 second, the ghusl. Okay, not bathing, you're right. Good catch. Ghusl, shower. Tayammum, you know tayammum, everyone? Dry ablution, right side. Wearing your clothing, noble act, right side. Na'al, shoes. Khuf, your socks, right side. Sarawil, your pants. Dukhul al-masjid, with what foot? Enter. Siwak, which side? Right. Iktihal, who puts the, you know, it's a sunnah to put. Huh? Kuhal. What do you call it in English? No, it's not called eyeliner. It's called antimony. It's called antimony, okay? It's not the same as eyeliner.
Is it black, right?
We'll talk about it. Kuhal is something very particular. Okay? I don't think it's not eyeliner, okay? In Urdu it's called kajal. In Arabic it's called kuhal. In English it's called antimony, okay? And in Farsi it's called surma. Okay. All right. And when you cut your nails, which one do you cut first, which hand? Right. Okay. Are you children gonna Mustafa, you gonna practice all this? Or is it getting too hard for you by now? You're gonna practice it, right? Yeah. Always remember the right. Qass al-sharib. If you're cutting your mustache, which side first? Right. Cutting your hair, you do right side. Do you guys see? That's a lot. Do you remember all this all the time? You may forget. But you see, that's why you're supposed to always remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See, if you did that, you would be more enlightened. Are we gonna do it from now on? Muhammad will do it. Everything from the right, okay? Musafaha, obviously right hand. Taking and giving. How do you give with the left hand? Right hand. Yeah. And like that, these are just some examples. Again, you can, your whole life is there. Everything you do with the right side. I'll take questions at the end. Okay, don't forget it. Okay, now the other is the opposite of all that. What is an unnoble activity? Cleaning your nose with the tissue. Cleaning with the right hand or left hand? Left. All right. Entering the bathroom? Left. Exiting from the masjid? Left. Taking off your socks or your clothing? Left. Okay. And the bathroom? Left hand. Right. All right. So this is title heading. Now we have the different ayah here of the Quran, and then we have ahadith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, فَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِيَمِينِهِ فَيَقُولُ هَاؤُمُ اقْرَءُوا كِتَابِيَهْ. And the second verse is فَأَصْحَابُ الْمَيْمَنَةِ مَا أَصْحَابُ الْمَيْمَنَةِ وَأَصْحَابُ الْمَشْأَمَةِ مَا أَصْحَابُ الْمَشْأَمَةِ. On Yawm al-Qiyamah, May Allah make us of that you're the successful one. We passed. That's why we're doing all this, guys. That's why you go to work. That's why you come to the masjid. It says on Yawmul Qiyamah, you're the successful person. So if you're successful, then your book will be given to you on your right hand. And when you'll get it, you'll get so excited. You'll say, Ha umuqra'u kitabiyah. You'll go around saying, who wants to read my book? Who wants to read my book? Super excited because you passed. It's done. The life of the test of the world, you avoided hell. Imagine how successful you'll be. But so where will the book be given? Right hand. Yeah. Look how powerful that is. See, like in this world, people who adhere to the sunnah do things with the right, and then the book is also given. And the left hand, that's somebody who's on the wrong. You'll be given the book in the left hand. Allah protect us from that. Okay, coming to the hadith. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala says that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, يُعْجِبُهُ التَّيَمُّنْ فِي الشَّأْنِ كُلِّهِ. Prophet sallallahu always did everything with the right. طُهُورِهِ, in his wudu, وَتَرَجُّلِهِ, his combing. We didn't talk about combing. What side of hair do you comb? You comb the right side first, and then you do the left. And his putting on his shoes. The next hadith, كانت يد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اليمنى لطهوره. Similar, right? In wudu and all the good things, noble things he would use, right? Unnoble things, use left. The next hadith, عن أم عطية. This Sahabi, Atiyah, she was an Ansari woman. When the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina al-Munawwara, she had taken bay'ah with Rasulullah ﷺ. You know, she pledged allegiance, right? That she will adhere to Islam with Rasulullah ﷺ. She was a very brave woman. She used to do all the janazah for the ladies, Atiyah. Prophet ﷺ's oldest daughter, قال لهن في غسل ابنته زينب. You know, his older daughter passed away, Zainab radiallahu ta'ala. She was 21 years old when she passed. So Prophet ﷺ had to have her somebody wash her body. So of course, Atiyah was going to do it. She was known in Medina to wash the body of the females. So Rasulullah ﷺ told her, Ibda'ani bimayaminiha. That when you start washing her, start from the right side. وَمَوَاضِعِ الْوُضُوء مِنْهَا. And also start washing from the places of wudu. What's the place of wudu? Like your arm, your face. Wash that first, then wash the rest of the entire body. Next hadith about Abu Hurairah. It talks about the right in terms of shoes and taking them off. The next hadith is similar. I'll just give you the last hadith. The last hadith is by Anas. Anas radiallahu ta'ala says, Anna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ata Mina. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went to Mina. Everyone knows where Mina is? Where's Mina? Who said yes? Where's Mina? Mustafa, where's Mina? Muhammad, where's Mina? Zahra, where's Mina? Urwa, where's Mina? Basically, when you do Hajj, one of the grounds is called Mina. One ground is called Arafat. Right, that's what you thought? Okay. So one place where you stay is called Mina. Okay. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was in Mina. فَأَتَى الْجَمْرَةِ. He did one of the activities is that you pelt, you stone the shaitan. He did one of them. فَرَمَاهَا ثُمَّ أَتَى مَنْزِلَهُ. Then he came back to Mina. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did his activity. We do the same in his footsteps. He did that. Then he came back to Mina. وَنَحَرَ. Then he slaughtered. We also do that in his footsteps. ثُمَّ قَالَ لِلْحَلَّاقِ. Somebody came to cut his hair, right? That's the last thing that you do. Shave, or you can cut it short. And the girls cut just a little bit from their hair, they cut just a little bit at the end. And then خُذْ وَأَشَارَ إِلَى جَانِبٍ. Oh, so who was cutting his hair, Rasulullah ﷺ told him to cut his right side. And then when he cut this side, then he did the left side. And then another hadith, another riwayah. ثم دعا أبا طلحة الأنصاري فأعطاه. One Sahabi was there, he was collecting it. He's collecting his hair. So he cut this right side, and then he's like, who is it? Abu Talha al-Ansari, here, take it. Then he cut this side, and then he take it. And then he told Abu Talha, اقسمه بين الناس. Divide it between the people. Remember I told you because the body of Rasulullah ﷺ was from paradise. His sweat didn't used to smell. His body was made from paradise. So even his hair was very, very blessed. So he asked them divide it. Because all the Sahaba were eager, so he just handed it to one person to just hand it. So what do we learn from all these ahadith? We learned the sunnah of the right side. And we learned that the Prophet ﷺ's body is made from paradise. And even his hair was made from paradise. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to follow his sunnah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to be appreciative of this deen. We have a very magnificent deen. We don't need to look elsewhere.